Hey guys, welcome back to Double D Vintage Baseball Cards. My name is Dylan, and man, I've got a lot of cards. Just epic pickups. Nothing huge, but just really fun pickups tonight. I have a care package from Dan Olsarge that is gonna blow your mind when I share the cards. It's gonna blow his mind. I mean, he sent me a pile of cards. I've never received this many cards in one care package. And each card means something. He wrote this letter. I'm going to share that. And then I'm going to blow his mind by telling him about these people on the cards. And a couple of the people that I know personally. Couple that are like, it's just insane, the cards that he sent me and how they attach to my life. And he has no idea. And it's insane. Super, super sick. Also wanted to talk about, show just another section of my collecting aspect that just shot off the side. Like, what are you buying now? I mean, dude, I am having just too much fun in this hobby because I'm shooting down all these avenues, and then I'm realizing that these cards go with these cards, these cards go with these cards, and then it goes all over the place. Dude, I mean, Hitman 23, like, all the collections that he has is just sick. And I get it, because one starts forming another, and another starts forming another, and you can go down these rabbit holes. And man, wait till you see my pickups. I went down some rabbit holes, and it's really fun. And then I'll just, like, cut it off, go another direction. And then I'll be so stoked. You guys, we all do that. And that's so different than the way I used to collect. When I was just collecting by myself, I was just collecting vintage baseball cards, just buying, just type it in PSA 7, PSA 8, and then later PSA 6s, and then as the prices got higher, you change it, and then I'd go cheapest, and I would pick the one I wanted out of the cheapest ones, and then boom, buy it. Man, since a year and a half ago, I have completely morphed my collection. I talk about it all the time. But this thing's zigging and zagging in so many directions that I never thought it would take me. And I'm having more fun in my entire life in collecting cards, except for maybe a 2-year period with my buddy Danny, which I talk about. But that, tonight, I'm going to show you pickups from that era of cards that I always wanted to have when I was blasting these boxes open with my buddy Danny. I mean, we had so much fun in the 2000s, in the mid-2000s, like 2006 to 2009 are like me and my buddy Danny's sweet spot when we were spending a ton of money. Plenty before, plenty after to a point. But that was our sweet spot. And I'm going back and buying just epic cards from that decade, from that moment in time. And in particular, I'm buying cards that represent what I was buying at that time. What boxes, what cases was I buying? And picking out players, Ichiro and Pujols, of guys that I loved watching play. I knew about their stats. I was playing fantasy baseball during this time. They're so inexpensive right now. In my opinion, Albert Pujols, since he retired, like, he's just not around, is not in the news, and you can pick up his cards for way cheaper than any player that has just a decent season in the same refractor version. But you can buy one in 2007 and 6 when not that many people, compared to today, were collecting and opening, so they printed less, and the refractors, they didn't have quite as many. You know, I'm picturing it turning 2000, where I'm buying my cards, my rabbit hole that I'm shooting, that I'm talking about, I can picture that booming in 10 years to 15 years when people start wanting Albert Pujols, Ichiro, they get in the Hall of Fame, and realizing the sweet spot for their cards are in the mid 2000s, low 2000s, all the way up to 2010ish, you'd say. And there just weren't a ton of people, so I am having so much fun picking these cards up. Every card I'm going to show you, it I remember pulling those cards. I have those cards listed on eBay, but not of Pujols, not of Ichiro, and not of that black refractors or gold refractors. But I have all these cards on eBay in different forms, different players. And I remember how hard these certain ones were to pull. I never pulled these cards I'm buying. So I'm just having a freaking blast. Man, dude, I'm going to show a bunch of cards. So I'm going to get into it. I'm going to show you guys cards right now and start off with my stories. And I'm wearing my Robin Yount t-shirt. And if you know, you know when I wear this t-shirt and why I wear this t-shirt. So let's get into it. Let's look at some baseball cards. I want to look at some baseball cards. And we're going to look at some non-sports cards as well, because I'm getting crazy. And I'm shooting over here, shooting over there, because I'm getting inspired by people. I'm getting inspired by guys like Dan and Doug Decon. I feel like he was the first like non-sport guy that I was really watching. There's a lot. I mean, I guess I could say that about a lot of people. Orlando and just many guys. But for me, it didn't really click until I received this care package that, man, these cards are super sick. And actually, it was a Disney card. It's a Walt Disney card with Mickey Mouse on Walt Disney's lap, or right there. That old Sarge Dan pointed out. That really just, okay, I'm going to start buying some of these famous people. Because that card to me, Disneyland, is like the cat's pajama for me. That's like, when I go there, it is the happiest place on earth. I am relaxed, and me and my wife, we flew there this 3-4 months ago or something. We needed a time to get away, and we took my niece and my brother-in-law, and we went to Disneyland. We stayed at the Disneyland Resort, and we went and flew there, went to Disneyland the whole day. We're there for 18 hours. We got in early, and because you could stay at the hotel, you get in early, and stayed till the end, all the way to the end. And it was like the time of our life. Then we flew home. The next day, slept again, woke up, flew home. That was it. It was just awesome. We want to go back already. So I've just taken turns like on this like hobby ride, and every zigzag I make, just because I might not stay on that path for a long time and I switch right back, I'm cherishing every pickup that I get, and I'm hoping that the pickups that I've made since the last, say, 4 months is really when I've been dialing things in and really getting pickier and harder with my money and where it's going. I hope these are my forever cards. I hope every card that I show you, every card that I pick up is my forever card. That's the plan with my collecting now. It's not like when I used to just buy doubles and keep them, or just high grade and, well, one day I'll just sell this one. And no, these are my forever things, I'm hoping. I mean, I have no reason to sell any card I'm showing you. So let's go before it's 7 hours in and you haven't seen a card. But thank God you guys have stuff to look at, right? That's why I do. That's why I love standing here. I love talking like this. You guys can look around at my childhood. My life is on display in our bedroom, and my wife's life is on display in our bedroom. These are her childhood toys, and each individual box represents a different year, a different decade, a different time. And it wraps around, and we have memory boxes of loved ones that we have lost. I have them down here. Everything on this wall represents something in our life, and it wraps all the way around this entire room, and I'm building more, and it's just this room, to me, that's why I love standing here and letting you guys see it, because it's like you're in here with me, and I can just stand here, and you guys can look around me, and I can talk about whatever I want to talk about, because it's fun for me to just talk about the hobby, because I've never got to talk about it with other people. And for me to be able to talk to the camera, it's like talking to my friends, and I just enjoy myself. It really is a pleasure to do these videos. I feel like I have my own studio, and I have my own broadcasting channel, and this is my TV show, and it's just like, I can just do anything. I'm just like, yeah. Oh yeah, check this out. This is sick right here. Like these Legos. I won these Legos. Literally, I won these Legos at a contest in the Westminster Mall in California, because I guessed how many Legos were in this giant statue. And I Dude, I'm really good at those games. Always since I was a kid. I won the grand prize, and I got a whole bunch of Legos. And then I also got a whole bunch of t-shirts for my friend. I won the biggest prize. I guessed the closest. And like, I can talk about that. And you guys are like, yeah, dude, I had an experience just like that. I remember the Lego statue in the mall. I had the guessing game too, and I did that. And then friends would do the candy guessing games. And I was so good. I'd lump them together, count them, and then divide them, time it by that. I don't know why. I always won those things. I just loved it. I can just point at things and be like, this is sick. This is sick. This reminds me of this, you know. Man, this was a display when I was a kid. Micro Machines. And when I was 7 years old at the Orange County Fair, I had this on display. And I got first prize. I think they gave them out to all the kids that participated. But it was on display. You walk in a room and it was just like this. Collections everywhere. And this room that I'm sharing with you guys, it was just shared with me and my wife for these years. And now that I have friends that I can share this with and understand this, it's just spectacular. Can't get enough. So without further ado, I'm going to show you some close-ups, some baseball cards. Man, these are just really spectacular stuff. And then I'm going to do Old Sarge, Dan. I'm going to show his collection, whether that's the next video, to be determined. Just some sick stuff. Okay, here we go. Dudes, welcome to the close-up. This is going to get extremely fun for me. So if things get out of control, they just get out of control. I really treasure sharing my direction and my collection and my opinions. You know, my opinions are not meant to be taken as like, I think you're 100% wrong and I'm right. No, my opinions are just me letting you guys know how I'm building my collection and the things that I think are this and that. It doesn't mean I'm right, but I really like sharing it. Just maybe just in case, because I am right one day, and I'll feel it'll like validate maybe choices that I make in life. And sometimes it's fun to be validated. And if I'm wrong, then I can be devalidated by you guys. You know, like all my centered vintage is this, like my low grade centered vintage is worth half what I paid. And everything else is worth 10 times more. Now, it's different if the economy crashes and it's worth half I paid. Well, that's a whole nother story. That doesn't matter. If everything comes down. But you guys can laugh at me one day if my cards that I spent $300 on and all the other grades went higher and mine went straight down the toilet. Well, fine. But I like to do it. And it's not to get people to do it. It's like this, I don't know, I guess it's a validation thing. Like, dude, I just have this gut feeling. It just looks right. This just seems right to me. We all have it. So that's, just take that from me. It's a grain of salt when I like say things. It's literally my brain just thinking about the future of baseball cards. Right, wrong, whatever. Dude, I've been wrong a million times in my life, and I've been right a couple. And I always say, all you gotta, in like spending money on things, like, I guess I don't not call this investing. I call this collecting, but I also do, these are investments. I put money into something as an investment. Whatever that is. I invest in my car that I drive every day because I invested a bunch of money into it. Invested time to make that money. It's fun to like guess and try and be right, but I've been wrong a ton. But in life, you only need to be right a couple times when it comes to investing, and you can be wrong 98 times. And if you put the same amount of time and effort and money into the 2 times that you're right, that's when you hit the spot. So I hope my collection hits the spot one day. And when I'm like 70, 80, 90, 100, whatever, like, you know, I really one day would love to see this thing up for sale and just watch it go and see what happens. I truly would love to do that one day. I don't think it's like dude, I tried to sell some of my collection before. Like, I never said to myself, I'm done. No, it was like, I can always buy it back. And I do the second I start selling one. So this thing has just been sick. So, all right, let's go. Sharing some cards. First pickup, bingo, bango. 3 minutes in, haven't even showed you a card. But you got Drew's card. Gosh, that is a sick card. I have it in my frame. It's on one of my frames. Right here, I just pulled it out. I have this on my desk, framed up. I have 3 frames, and I keep my favorite cards in it in the time. That is in there on my desk. So stoked. Clean, cheap shots. Drew. I'll tag him. He's an awesome guy in this community. I met him at the National. One of the sickest care packages ever. Okay, I'm going to just go all over. Here we go. First pickup. Roy Campanella. 1953 tops in a little baby VG EX4 PSA 4. I say a stunner of a 4. I say this is sharp as you need a baseball card. And quite frankly, I say this a lot, but I'll say it again for this card. Not all the cards you're going to see. This card for sure. Every one of my baseball cards, my vintage baseball cards, looked like this. My collection will be world class. And that's what I'm shooting for. That's what I hope all my cards look like. And I have other 4s that look like this, but I'll say it again right here. Just a sick card. I mean, I wanted this card for so long, and all of a sudden it was just going at auction, and I'm just like, ooh, that thing's nice. Looked up the serial number, look at another photo. It was on my watch for like 5 days, and won at auction. $150. Bingo, bango, chicken mango. Bam, that thing was mine. Like, no doubter right there. I think I bid 168 or something. I was overpaying comps. Comps are probably 140 something for a 4, maybe even less. But man, I'll tell you what, that's worth that money all day long. And I've been selling cards, guys. This money's not just coming out of my pants. I've been selling cards. If you saw my eBay account, last 90 days, I've sold $7,000 worth of graded vintage cards, basically. All off-centered stuff, or stuff that was centered that I've purchased over the last year that didn't have other aspects that I really wanted. This guy right here had everything I was looking for, and that is the Ernie Banks 1959 tops. It's not a perfectly centered card, but when my eye caught it, hold on, let me do the George Diamond Yard thing. You gotta click these bad boys into place, That's what I love about PSA. I love that they're loose in there. Other people think that means they're small. No, pretty much all PSAs can rumble around. To me, it means there's no wax on it. There's nothing sticky on it. Can move around. There's a baseball card in the case. I've thought that since I first started collecting graded cards. I love that they moved around. Other people hate it. That's one thing I have against SGC. The cards aren't floating in there. This baby's loose. This thing's dry. It's a baseball card. It's in there. Listen. I love that sound. Maybe I'm the only one, man, but I really love that sound. It's janking around there. Bang, bang, bang. Beautiful, beautiful MVP card. This goes with my collection with my MVP 1975 tops. MVP card on card. And this is Ernie Banks MVP. It's not perfectly centered. A little top to bottom issue, but very minor. And this makes it. This is an 86 on my scale. Very nice. 90 to 92 and above, basically perfect to the naked eye. This thing's not perfect. When I first saw it, I thought it was perfect. It's insane. It is an incredible looking card. Next one here. I mean, they just keep going. Like, I got 5 or so of those. Yeah, I got about 6 of these type of pickups. Vintage. Gosh, this one, man. I mean, this is such a sick card. This was like a $25 pickup. And it's a card that I have, but I've never had it graded. And going after centered cards, it just sucks because you can't just hey, I want that card. I hunted for this card and I found the one I wanted. And even when I got it, I was like, it's not perfectly centered. And I thought it was. It's not easy. It ain't easy being cheesy. It's like, it's not easy to find the perfect card when you're not in the flesh. But I'm not going to lie. This thing's beautiful. It's PSA 7. It was like $25. And I hunted for this card for quite some time because I want to finally finish a run of players. And Reggie would probably be my number one guy where I can finish the run and not drain a bunch of money. I only need the 1974 Topps card now. And it's actually the guy that I was closest to minus Hank Aaron and Ernie Banks. Hank Aaron I'm really close to, but then I sold some. I sold the 56. I don't have it anymore. So Reggie, I really went after him. I love Reggie Jackson. I watched him play as a kid for my Angels. Not that I remember him during the games, but I have things to prove I was there while he was playing. So that's like me in a nutshell. I don't remember the games I was at, but I remember when, and I remember who was on the team at the time. I just don't remember the games. So I don't know if he got a hit or a home run or struck out. I have no idea. Probably struck out 3 times. But beautiful card. You could call this one of the greatest Reggie Jackson cards. Maybe the greatest of all time because of that swing. Because of that. He either hit a bomb, which I always thought he was striking out, but he didn't. He's in control, meaning he's looking at the ball. Look at the crowd. Man, I'm just kind of noticing that now. But this is a dinger. That's a home run. I bet you that's a home run he hit. Yeah, pinstripes. There's nothing not to love about this card. And for $25, cost of a blaster, as Eric, those back pages say, and I always thought that in my brain before YouTube, and then I find out that people have been saying it for years. Shane, Shoebox Legends, used to write about blaster cost. Like, dude, if I had a blaster and that card was in it, in a PSA slab, I would lose my mind. Be like, this is the greatest blaster I ever purchased in my life. So, beautiful card, and I only need the 74 centered graded Reggie, and that would be my very first player run of all time. So it's going to mean a great deal to me when I finally acquire that card. I've been looking at them for a long time. Still just haven't found it. And in the price I want, in the grade, I don't care the grade, but I'm not going to buy a 9. I'll buy an 8, no problem. I haven't found the one that's centered that I want. So, next card here. Oh, this card's sick. I just saw what I grabbed. Woo-wee, baby. This is going to be good. This thing's cherry. This card I'm about to show you guys is one of the greatest human beings to ever walk the face of the earth. A guy that will go down in history that changed history, changed the future of sports and life as we know it. I mean, yeah, I feel like you can't talk about him enough in sense of his place in history, and that is Jackie Robinson, and that is the 1956 Topps Jackie Robinson. Look at that thing. 3 in a 3. Give me this 3 every day, all day. I don't know what it is. Sometimes you just go on like runs. I was grabbing 4s all day. I'm not typing these in. Okay. I'm literally just, if I want the card, the 56 Jackie I have, and it's on eBay, and I wanted a different copy, mine's very nice. It's really nice. It's a 4 SGC. It's off-centered, but not bad. It looks really good. But this looks like how I want my baseball cards to look. It looks as good as humanly possible, minus perfect sharp cornered edges. If that thing had perfectly sharp cornered edges, this is right out of a pack, brand new PSA 10. Right? So that's what I want. That's what I'm looking for. And speaking of backs right here, I mean, just an epic back of a card for Rick Vintage Oddball. He is no way he's watching 13 minutes of one of my videos to get to this point. Oh, but I'm going to tag him nonetheless. Rick. I met Rick at the National. It's not like we talked for an hour, but I talked to him numerous times. I just loved him as a person, as his demeanor. And look, when I was at the National, there's just too much for me to take in. And everyone says it's overwhelming, and I initially thought it wasn't overwhelming. But what wasn't overwhelming was the cards. But what was overwhelming was talking to friends that I knew from YouTube and other people. It was hard to negotiate my time, and I had an issue when I was there with family issues halfway through, and so that was a double deterrent as my enjoyment went for talking to people. But Rick is just an awesome dude. We had dinner together with everybody, and he just is just such a sick human, really, really good person. And he knows so much more about baseball cards than I will probably ever know in my life. And just such a respectful person. So, Rick, if you are watching it to this point, I hope you just fast forward it. You know, I appreciate everything you do for this hobby and this community. And this is my shout out to you and your VR and the backs that I love. I love the 56 backs. I have one in particular card I'm going to share later. That was for your VR, but man, you're going to have to watch like an hour. So, Jackie, 56. Let me get in there one last time. 56 in a VG3. I think I spent $440 on this thing. That's a lot. That's probably a PSA 4 price. But I am glad I did. Because for me to find another one like this in that price range, that is not easy to find. And I have another one to sell that I spent a lot less money on, and it's worth money. So bingo, bango. There we go. Okay, guys, this is where things just start getting silly. I have so many pickups here. I'm just gonna keep going, guys. That's how it's gonna be. I'll split this thing up in like 3 videos, maybe, or I'll make you guys all suffer all the way through. Boom. 1952 Topps coming up, everybody. Get your headlights on. One's coming out, and it's centered. A 1952 Topps card that's centered. This is probably one of the easier ones to find centered, I must confess. Give this a 6 rating on the scale of my centering as far as how hard it is to find. To put you in perspective, a Robin Yount rookie card is a 5. Actually, I might have given this a 7, but I'm giving this, I think I put it as a 6. So it's not crazy hard to find, but 52 Topps is freaking tough to find centered. So I'm willing to give on a few things. Not much on this card. There's something that you'll see. But it's a 1952 Topps, and it's a Gil Hodges. And I have collected Gil Hodges for a long time. Before he was in the Hall of Fame, before anyone really knew who Gil Hodges was, in my opinion, I loved Gil Hodges because he was in every single baseball card book I read about the Dodgers and Yankees. And he was in every one of them. So I had a ton of his cards. I sold a few. I still have, probably 4 or 5. But this one came up at auction, and here's the only issue with it. There is a slight, you can see it, the little print line right there. Hold on, let's get you in there. Vintage Sanctuary style. Oh, I can't even do it. My phone won't even get you that close. I guess maybe I'm too close. You can see that right there. Now, when I purchased this card, it was an auction. It was $110, I believe. You can check it. Give or take $10 either way. At auction, I said, I'm going to win that card. I think I bid $137, which is over comps. But to me, the card was worth that. And so I got it for what I got it at, $105 or $13 or something like in that zone. I didn't even notice that. And I had looked at this card for a couple days. And I had pulled it on my computer. I don't know. Sometimes I get distracted and I see only this and I see the image, make sure it's not blurry. And then I saw that. But with all that said, I will take this card every day of the week, 100 times over, an off-centered version with, without that. You guys have to know by now that I love image of baseball cards is. You have to say is number one at all times. Centering is my number two, but I don't want to be without either. I want both to be as good as I could possibly get for that money I'm willing to spend on it. I'm not going to categorize it on a grade. I'm not going to categorize it on how much, but I am tolerant on certain things. You have to be if you're going to be buying lower grade. That isn't a 10. Even, I hit that. How's that? How many times have you done that? There's no way I'm the only one that's done that. Hit this to focus. It might be the first, but I won't be the last. Look at that, Gil Hodges! 1952 tops, guys. I mean, $110, give or take a few bucks. Centered. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Gil Hodges, man. This guy was a hammer, man. That guy was blasting home runs. This guy was crushing bombs before even, dude, he was a full-blown power hitter, first baseman. Whew. One of the greatest. Mark, gotta cover you up, but you're right there, man. Never forget. Dude, I know the stands are coming. I was gonna ship you some. This is between me and Mark. They're coming. I'm building new ones for you specifically. So they're on their way. Next card here. Dude, you guys, this card is insane. Show you the card. Oh, you know me. I'm going to slow roll this bad boy across the screen. Look at that. Ted Williams. You don't even need to see the rest of the card. Or the grade. Well, there you saw it. 2.5. Ted Williams. What's so cool about this card, just makes it an extra special pickup for me, is that I had this on my watch list. I was going to go after it. And then my friend Shane, Shoebox Legend, sent me a text with this listing in there, and he says this card looks insane. I don't know what he said exactly. I'm not quoting him, but he sent me the listing without knowing I was looking for it or anything like that. It's got a crease right here, but he sent me the listing. He goes, man, that's nice looking. I go, yeah, because he knows I'm a centered guy. Look at the centering on this 51 Bowman. It's one of those that you can get away with off-centered stuff without it bothering your eye to a point. Decently off-centered because the borders are so small and you can kind of get away with it. But this bad boy right here has got really nice centering. Put this in a 93 out of 100. Now it could be 100, but the cut of the actual card is a little off. You can see the cut itself, in my opinion. The centering, you could put it at 100, but the cardboard itself is thicker down here on this corner and thicker up here. So it's tough. These vintage cards, you have to look at the cuts themselves too, because centering could be perfect, but it could literally be cut at an angle or cut size-wise a little differently. But this thing, regardless, I think I spent $325, let's say $300 to $350. I can't remember. This was probably 2 months ago or a month and a half ago. Had it on my desk. I've been wanting to share it. Beautiful, beautiful copy all day long. Thank you. 100 times better than 1950 Bowman that I have on my wall. This is one of my favorite Ted Williams cards. For it to say Ted Williams in the black box, I just remember that as a kid because I didn't know all these other players and these other cards. You didn't know them without a name block. And this card has always spoke to me, and I got one. So it's just thrilled out of my mind. Selling stuff, buying stuff. That's how I'm rolling. It's not going back into the bank account. It's going straight back into the baseball cards. So, dude, that is just so glorious. So stoked on that stuff. I can't get enough of what I'm about to show you next. What I'm about to show you next, holy smokes, this is something, the rabbit hole that I was talking about. This is me picking up cards that I should have pulled from packs, or had pulled that type of parallel from packs, but it was the wrong player. Or it was the right player, but it wasn't pools at the time, but it would have been pools at the time. These are the cards I wish I pulled.